Buckle up, everyone, because today we are taking a deep dive into AI-generated video and audio. You sent over some really wild stuff from Meta, and it looks like they're pushing the boundaries with their new movie gen AI.
It's really incredible how fast this tech is evolving. I mean, it feels like just yesterday, AI was struggling to generate a simple image.
And now they're creating entire movie experiences with AI.
That's what they're aiming for, and these aren't just typical AI experiments, like a few seconds of shaky footage.
So we're talking full-on high-definition videos and audio here, with movie gen.
Absolutely. High-def video and audio up to 16 seconds long with a really impressive frame rate. And that's what we're going to unpack today, what it is, how it works, and what it could all mean going forward.
16 seconds. That's like a short film compared to what we've seen from AI in the past. Okay, color me intrigued. So let's start unpacking. What exactly is movie gen?
So Movie Gen is a set of AI models, and they're designed specifically for generating and then manipulating very high-quality media. Think high-definition video and audio. I'm talking up to 16 seconds long at a really impressive frame rate.
Okay, you said 16 seconds again, I get it. But seriously, that's pretty long for AI-generated video, right?
It is, and the quality is amazing. We're talking 16 frames per second for the video, 48 kilohertz audio, good enough for your headphones, and that is a huge leap forward.
I'm impressed, but how does it actually work? I mean, is it as easy as typing in, like, talking cat riding a unicorn through space and hitting enter?
Well, no, not quite that simple. But you're on the right track with the talking cat prompt, because Movie Gen uses a text-to-video approach. But what's really amazing is the scale of this AI model. It's a 30 billion parameter model.
30 billion? What does that even mean?
Basically, they've created an AI with an incredible amount of processing power, and it's all dedicated to making videos. And to train this behemoth, they had to feed it a massive data set of images, videos, and audio. Basically, they scraped it all from the internet.
Okay, so that explains the talking cat part of my prompt. But how on earth do they turn all that data into something coherent, let alone high quality? Seems like that's a recipe for disaster, right?
It's definitely a challenge. So instead of just throwing all this data at the AI at once, they actually used a multi-stage training process. They started with something AI is already really good at text-to-image generation.
Like those AI art generators that have been everywhere lately.
Exactly, and they used that as a foundation. Then they took it a step further by training the model for text-to-video. So this way, Movie Gen learns to not only create scenes, but also understand how things move and change over time.
So it's not just creating a static image, but it's creating something dynamic and fluid.
Exactly, and they actually trained Movie Gen on a whole bunch of different frame rates, aspect ratios, which means you can actually specify the format, so no more awkwardly cropped videos.
So, like, I could specify if I want my masterpiece in widescreen.
Seems that way. Now, another cool thing they used is this thing called the temporal autoencoder, or TAE, which is really Movie Gen's secret weapon for compressing and reconstructing the video data, but without losing the details.
A temporal autoencoder? That sounds complicated.
It is, but it's like a super high-tech zip file for videos, and it ensures that even with compression, the final video looks really good.
Okay, so I'm starting to get a sense of the tech behind it, but how do they make sure the videos actually look good? I mean, training it on random internet videos seems like a recipe for, well, a mess.
Yeah, they had to get strategic. For example, they used special algorithms to filter out low-quality videos from the training data. Things like poor visual quality, low motion, too much text on screen, even videos with really shaky camera work.
So they basically taught the AI to be a better filmmaker than someone randomly using their phone.
Pretty much. But they didn't stop there. They specifically trained Movie Gen on videos that had smooth, natural-looking motion because they wanted to make sure that the AI really understood how objects and people move realistically. And that is one of the hardest things to get right with computer animation.
It's so true. You can always tell a fake video when the motion seems off. How do they solve for that?
It was a hurdle, for sure. The research paper mentions that they had to find a bunch of creative solutions to make the motion look more realistic. For example, there were these weird spot artifacts that kept showing up.
Spot artifacts? What are those?
Imagine little glitches or inconsistencies in the video. These are common with AI-generated content. The researchers had to figure out new ways to smooth them out and create a more polished final product.
Wow, it sounds like they really went above and beyond with this technology. But the million-dollar question is, how good are the results?
Well, according to Meta, the results are already pretty amazing. They even say that Movie Gen beats other AI video generators that are already out there. But there's a catch.
There's always a catch.
Always.
Right.
See, when you're evaluating creative output like this, videos, there isn't an objective measurement for things like quality, style, or even how well the video actually matches the text description.
Yeah.
So they did something interesting. They actually relied on human feedback.
They brought in the critics, huh?
They did. And those critics, real people, watched and evaluated all these different videos. And they were using specific criteria, like, did it match the prompt? How realistic is the motion? Is it even visually appealing?
But that seems pretty subjective. What one person thinks is amazing, another person might think is boring.
100%. And the paper acknowledges that, which is why they used a really rigorous evaluation process with tons of people rating each video. They wanted to get a realistic idea of MovieGen's performance, not just cherry-pick the best results.
Okay, so even with that subjective element, they tried to be as objective as possible with it.
Exactly. They wanted to show that MovieGen could actually deliver.
They've got this super powerful AI. It's trained on more data than we can imagine, and it can supposedly make videos that, well, rival those made by humans. So what else can this thing do?
That's where the really interesting part comes in personalization and editing.
Personalization and edit. All right, now you're speaking my language. Does that mean what I think it means? Can I finally be the star in my own action movie?
Well, maybe not a full action movie, at least not yet. But you can actually insert yourself into AI-generated videos using MovieGen's personalization feature.
Get out! How?
They're calling it personalized MovieGen video, and it's pretty wild. You basically just need to give it an image of yourself, like let's say you want to win an Olympic gold medal. You've always dreamed of it. So you take a selfie, you type in the prompt, and boom, MovieGen puts you right there in the action.
Whoa, so it's not like just pasting my face on a video of an athlete, because that never really looks convincing.
No. This is way more advanced. See, they trained a whole other model, and this one's specifically focused on videos of humans. So the AI has an understanding of how real people move, how their expressions change, all while keeping your unique features.
So it's basically learning how to map my face onto this moving, dynamic character in the video.
Yeah, you got it. Of course it's not perfect. The paper talks about some of the challenges, like how to get the motion totally natural and how to make sure that the person's face doesn't look like some weird digital mask.
Sure. It's still really early, but the potential here is mind-blowing. Personalized birthday messages, product demos. Heck, you could even imagine inserting yourself into historical events.
And that's really just scratching the surface. Think about stuff like education and training. What if you could learn a new skill by actually watching yourself do it correctly in a simulation?
Okay, that's next level stuff. But let's say you've already got video footage. Can MovieGen do anything for that?
100%.
Yeah.
MovieGen isn't just about making stuff from scratch. It can actually edit existing videos, and it can do it really precisely all through simple text commands.
Wait, are you serious? I don't have to spend hours learning complicated video editing software.
That's the goal. They're calling this MovieGen Edit, and it's a total game changer. Want to change the background of your scene, add some cool special effects? MovieGen can handle all of that.
Hold on. How does it even know what to change? If I tell it to, make the background a tropical beach, how does it know what parts of the video even are the background?
It's a great question, and it really shows you how advanced all of this is. They used a multi-stage process for this, too. So first, they trained the model on image editing, similar to those tools that can, remove stuff from photos or change the style of an image. And then they had to figure out how to apply all of that to video frame by frame.
So it's literally editing at a super granular level. But video isn't just about a bunch of still images. You have motion, transitions, the whole flow. How does it deal with that?
You're right, and that's where that second stage of training came in. So they had to teach MovieGen to edit the video while keeping things consistent over time. Basically, they had to make sure the edits flowed smoothly. And to do that, they actually created these synthetic video editing examples to use in the AI training.
Synthetic video editing examples? What does that even mean?
They basically just created fake videos, but these videos had really specific edits, and then they fed those fake videos to the AI along with text descriptions of, the edits. So this way, MovieGen could learn from, thousands of these perfectly edited examples, which really sped up the learning process.
They trained it on fake videos to edit real ones. That's pretty wild. And to top it all off, they use that thing called back translation, right?
It does sound kind of like a spy movie.
Yeah.
It's actually a technique that's used a lot in AI, especially with language models. And in this case, they sort of adapted it for video editing. Basically, they have the model generate an edited video, then describe that edit in text form. Then they take that text, feed it back into the model, along with the original video, and they basically have it try to recreate the edited version.
So it's kind of learning from its own work.
Yeah, exactly. It's a way to make the model better at connecting those text instructions with the changes that you want in the video.
My mind is officially blown. This is next level stuff. But we can't forget about audio. I mean, what good is an epic movie scene without an equally epic soundtrack?
You're telling me. And of course, MovieGen delivers on the audio front as well. So they have this dedicated model called No Surprise Here, MovieGen Audio. And it can generate all sorts of stuff, sound effects, background music, even like complete soundtracks.
Wait, seriously, so I could create a whole movie score just by typing in a couple words?
That's the idea. And just like the video model, they trained the audio model on a massive data set of sounds. But here's what's really cool. They specifically wanted to create sounds that actually sync up perfectly with the videos.
So it knows that, like, a car chase scene needs a different sound than, say, a romantic dinner.
You got it. It's not just about making random sounds. It's about generating audio that matches the mood, the action, the whole context of what's happening visually.
That's so cool. But how on earth do you teach AI to understand context like that? It almost seems intuitive.
It is really impressive. So they trained the model on this this incredibly diverse mix of sounds, and they were categorized as either diegetic or non-diegetic.
Hold on. Diegetic, non-diegetic. Sounds like I'm back in film school.
It's really not that complicated. Okay. So diegetic sounds are basically sounds that come from within the world of the video. Think like dialogue, footsteps, a doorbell, stuff like that. Non-diegetic sounds are added in later to kind of set the mood or give you some context. So like background music or a narrator's voice.
Okay, that makes sense. So they trained MovieGen audio on both types of sounds.
Exactly, which means that the model now has all of these different sounds to work with, and it knows how to use them to make the scene better.
Pretty clever, but how does it know when to use which sound?
And that's where all those massive data sets really come into play. It's not like they were just feeding the AI model random videos and random sounds. They actually paired them together. So the model was able to learn to associate certain types of sounds with specific things that it saw.
Okay, so if it sees a video of a dog barking, it knows to make a barking sound.
Yeah. But it can get even more specific than that. Like, is it a playful bark? Is it aggressive? The model can look at the visuals and make sounds to match what's going on.
This is kind of blowing my mind. I feel like we're on the edge of like a whole new era of movie making.
I know, right? And we haven't even gotten into all the nitty-gritty details from the research paper. I mean, they get really deep into the training, the problems they ran into, and how they actually solved them.
It sounds like it. But for those of us who aren't like AI experts, let's bring it back down to earth for a second. Why should the average person care about AI making movies?
It's a good question, right? I mean, this technology could completely change how we make and even consume content. Think about filmmakers, advertisers, educators. Anyone who's creating visual content could use this.
So no more need for big film crews or spending weeks editing.
That's the dream, at least.
Yeah.
But imagine being able to make a product demo, training video, or even a short film just by using a few lines of text.
That's pretty amazing. But let's be real, there are some downsides here too, right?
Yeah, it seems like every time some amazing new technology pops up, there's always like a potential dark side. What are we looking at here? Well, just like any powerful technology, we have to think about the ethical side of things. Like, what happens when someone uses this tech for bad stuff? Making fake videos that look real to spread misinformation and manipulate people. That's a scary thought.
It is, and deepfakes are already a huge problem. This feels like it could make that even worse.
It could. It's definitely something we need to be aware of now and, start figuring out solutions before it gets out of control.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole question of what happens to actual jobs and, the creative industries. What happens to video editors or sound designers, even actors, when AI can potentially do their jobs, like way faster and cheaper?
It's true. Those are important questions. It's bigger than just the technology. It's about how we deal with its impact. And it feels like we're kind of standing at the edge of this whole new world. Exciting, but a little unsettling at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's a weird mix of both. But that's what makes this technology so fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just starting to understand what it can do, and it's evolving so fast.
It's like that saying, the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed yet. And this feels like a peek into that future.
Totally. And just like with any really powerful new tool, the important thing is that we use it responsibly and ethically.
Couldn't agree more.
Mm.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into movie gen, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I'd say the most important thing is just to be aware. Be aware of how powerful this technology really is, how it can be used to make amazing stuff, but also how it could be used for bad. We can't just blindly accept everything we see and hear online, right? So question everything, think critically, and be ready for a future where it's harder to tell what's real and what's fake.
Amazing advice. Always question, always think. Isn't that what the deep dive is all about? Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible look into AI-generated media. This was really eye-opening.
My pleasure. It's an exciting time to be paying attention to all of that.
Absolutely. And listeners, until next time, stay curious.